So this is yet another journal flip. This one is probably the only journal that I've ever come remotely close to completing 100%. I think it had a lot to do with the size. It's fairly small, and it was created by a company called Paperchase that used to be sold through Borders. And while I have a ton, once it went on sale, I would buy a ton of these because they were Kraft paper, and I found that they worked just fantastic. So we'll just start real quick. This one, I actually dated the first page, so I know for a fact that this started June of 2008. And then ended most recently in the last maybe 7 to 8 months. I use a lot of my own photography in this journal, which if I haven't mentioned before, I really want to get into doing again. And that's my daughter. So as you can see, this one is a little more collage and photography. And I don't want to really show that one. That one's a little personal. Let's see if am I missing something? Okay, and that's my parents, my niece. And this is also around the time I discovered the joys of Crackle. I really did love, let me see if I can kind of close up on that. I really did love the Crackle. I can't remember the name. Is it Folk Art? One Stroke. I can't remember who the brand is, but you can get it at Joann's, and it does. And all it is, it's just a clear base you put on, let it dry, and it crackles. And then what you do is you can either put like a brown or a white to kind of fill in the cracks, and it just gives us this great weathered look. I think I need to do something about this because the glare is killing me. And this is just watercolor, crayon, my photography, collage, stamping. You know, I felt really free with this journal to just do whatever I want. It was just so personal, which is probably why it's actually making me a little uncomfortable sharing this with you because of the fact that it's such a personal journal. But I think it's important to show people that, you know, our journaling is not one thing. It could be many things. See if I can just tilt that so you get a better view of that. For a lot of collage. This is, that Crackle is the Crackle that is done with Elmer's glue. Like if you get a white glue and you spread it on to your page and then you go over it with an acrylic, it actually does like a really cool either weathered painted effect or a crackle, and that's what I was doing here. See, as you can see, I think this is the only journal I've done like a tremendous amount of writing in, and I am not a person to write in my journals. Unfortunately, it's not something that I was ever able to do with any type of what I don't even know what the word is, safety, I guess, because if you're going to write your personal thoughts, you want to feel safe within that book to write your personal thoughts. And as growing up, that never really occurred. You know, my parents were always able to go into my things, so I think that's why art journaling called to me so much, because of the fact that journaling through images, the meaning is hidden, even if it's in plain sight. And if I choose not to use any words, I can still understand where I was at that point in time just by looking at the imagery. And that's why I really took to it, and that's why I love it so much. And it's funny because this one I really don't have a lot to say about, just because a lot of these I'm just looking at it going, ooh, yeah, I don't want to talk about that, and I definitely don't want to talk about that, and I don't want to talk about that either. So, and that's the way journaling should be. If you feel uncomfortable about people getting to see some of these pages, then you know you hit it right with the journaling. And some of these I've actually come back to. Like this one I came back to. It was just like her eyes. And I came back to it and just finished it off. These next pages are going to be a lot of abstract. And it's funny because Jared Knight, he said that you should get into a practice of drawing something abstract and just filling it in, paint by numbers. And the whole process is to just kind of loosen yourself up, to really get you going so that you don't feel stuck when you're trying to make something. And then he said you should date it as well. So I was doing that for a little while. This was done with Crayola crayons. I was trying to, it's kind of cool. There is two artists right now. One is the actual apprentice of the original artist, and he does all his work in Crayola crayons, and it was really cool to see. Ooh. Okay, and it was really cool to see because it just shows that whatever medium, as long as you master your medium, you can do pretty much anything that you set your heart on, but you got to understand your medium in order to do that. And again, this is a lot of abstract work that I was doing, and I find this type of work really meditative, and just I absolutely loved it. I mean, I would just fill a whole page and just color, and I'd lose myself for hours. Sometimes, on a whim, I actually would find an image within all the abstracts. So this one is a bird, or it looks like a bird to me. This is me doodling at work. And then I just kind of rip off the paper that I was doodling on and then just paste it in. This I started and I wasn't happy with it, and so I just kind of moved on. And that's another thing you got to do. You have to be willing to just let things go and move on. Journaling is not about a finished product every single page. Sometimes it's about being halfway through a thought and saying, screw this, and just keep on going. And this I actually recall because Les Herger actually had some pictures of some lemons that she was taking, and I said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can do a still life, because in all honesty, I never thought I could draw anything, period. So I was actually kind of proud of myself. Not too bad, not too shabby for the first still life. And that's pretty much it. See, as you can see, I only have a few pages to go on this one. And I'll probably revisit it at some point in time, but for the most part, I think I'm just kind of done with this journal, and this is, in reality, this is my favorite journal to date, and the most personal one I have. Alright, so there's journal flip number 2.